This week on Goofing Off, I review a new anime on Animate.
Mainstream Mike covers No Man's Sky. All this and more on Goofing Off. Welcome back to Goofing Off. I'm Dominic from Uli.
And I'm Michaela Wilfred. I'm so excited to be on Goof this semester.
It's cool to be hosting. We're doing a lot of new and exciting things this year.
Well, let's start it off with what we did for the summer, Colossalcon.
Hello everyone, this is Kyle from Goofing Off, and we are here at Colossalcon at Kalahari Resorts in Sandusky, Ohio. It's a huge anime convention. There's video games, cosplaying, arcades everywhere, and we're just gonna see what we can check out. So, let's get going. All right, everyone, I am here with
Ashley Seibert,
who is cosplaying as
Miss Jurassic World.
Miss Jurassic World. Is this your first time winning the title?
Yes, it is, and I'm quite excited about it.
All right, now I am here with our guest of honor for the con. Thank you. Is this your first time here at Kalahari? Oh, really? That long? How has your demolishing of the enemies been going?
Well, the moon here seems to not have a face. I'm not used to that. But I'll find a way to smash it into the world.
Right. You've got some magic tricks up your sleeve. Any secrets you want to share with the viewers at home?
Psychic powers. They are meant to be used for evil.
Right. I think that's some words that we can all benefit from.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Skull Kid. All right, we had a great time here at Colossalcon. We got to interview some great people, see some awesome cosplay, and spend a bunch of money on stuff that I'll probably regret purchasing tomorrow. So, for now, I'm Kyle Glockner, and thank you for taking the time to goof off with us. See you next time.
So, did you see the new Alola Pokemon for Sun and Moon?
I did. I still have no idea why Executor is a dragon type.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm still not over how silly Eradicate looks.
Speaking of Pokemon, here's a new installment of Face Off with Kyle.
Hello everyone, I'm Kyle Glockner, back with another semester of Face Off. I've covered a lot of games last semester, including some of the Pokemon franchise. Previously, I ranked the third generation games above the second and first, but Pokemon didn't just stop at Ruby and Sapphire. So today, I'll be taking a look at the third gen games and comparing them to the fourth generation. Let's get it started. As a bit of a recap from last time, Ruby and Sapphire brought double battles, over 130 new Pokemon, a new evil team, and much more to the Pokemon franchise. They took away certain features that were in previous games, such as the day-night cycle, but overall they were an improvement. Their successors, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, were released in 2006, with Pokemon Platinum coming out in 2009. While Platinum, much like third generation's Emerald, doesn't change too much from Diamond and Pearl, there is one significant change and a few subtle changes that earn a proper mention, but that'll come into play later. To start, Diamond and Pearl brought back the day-night cycle, which added much more depth to the region, coupled with the much improved graphics. This feature was heavily missed in third gen, and much like the second generation games, added another layer of depth to hunting down all the Pokemon. Speaking of callbacks to second gen games, the Pokedex of the fourth generation added around 100 new Pokemon, around 20 to 30 of which were evolutions to previously introduced Pokemon. Now, previously single-stage Pokemon such as Sneasel, Rosalia, and even Eevee got new evolutions, which gave a new value to some Pokemon you might not have considered using before. Another new feature regarding Pokemon is gender differences. Gender for Pokemon wasn't introduced until Gold and Silver, and at that time it only affected breeding. But now, certain Pokemon like Hippowdon and Wobbuffet have a different appearance depending on whether they are male or female. And while there aren't too many examples of this in the fourth generation, This subtle addition sparked the inspiration for many future Pokemon in the 5th and 6th generations, and even in the upcoming 7th generation. As far as the region itself is concerned, Sinnoh has many identifying features that appear for the first time in the 4th generation, such as multiple lakes, a huge mountain that stretches across the region, marshes, and foggy areas. Compared to Kanto and Johto's typically flat land and Hoenn's half land, half water deal, this variation in the landscape makes each route unique, much more so than the previous regions. As far as legendary Pokemon go, Sinnoh introduces some of the most interesting legendaries of the franchise, with many unique typings that have yet to appear again. Finally, Diamond and Pearl introduced the Global Trade Station. This allowed players to connect with others from all over the world to trade and battle Pokemon, being one of the series' core features to a global scale. Now, these games, they're not perfect. While many of the differing landscapes added a certain uniqueness to most areas, some parts of the game just feel empty and offer no incentive to explore them, which isn't really a good thing in a game where half of your objective is to explore. Then there's Team Galactic, whose ultimate goal is to create a new world, or something. To be completely honest, their story gets pretty boring after the second encounter, but in Platinum, there's a lot more added to their story, which makes it much better than it was in Diamond and Pearl. Overall, the 4th generation of Pokemon added a lot to the franchise that has stuck around to this day. A good analogy to think of is Gold and Silver are to Red and Blue, as Diamond and Pearl are to Ruby and Sapphire, just without them being a clear-cut sequel. Even as Pokemon are being announced for Sun and Moon, we're seeing potential gender-based evolutions, as well as new forms for previous Pokemon. The games since Diamond and Pearl have all had many unique features to the region. Be they cities, deserts, or underwater castles, the regions aren't getting dull, mostly. So, the winner of this battle is Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. So what do you think? Do you think Pokemon continue to improve? Do you think they already plateaued? Or are you a Gen 1er still claiming first gen is best gen? Let me know by tweeting me at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag FaceOff. Until then, I'm Kyle Glockner, and I'll see you next time on Face Off.
That brings us to our first commercial break. Stick with us and we'll be right back.
Like what you see here in Goofing Off? Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube page. And also check out our Instagram.
So Sony recently announced new PlayStation 4 hardware. They're announcing a slimmer, cheaper version and the PlayStation Pro.
I've heard the Pro is supposed to be able to do 4K videos, and apparently it looks like a sandwich?
I could go for a sandwich.
Yeah, that sounds really good. We've been here too long.
Anyway, coming up next is Mainstream Mike, covering the much anticipated PS4 and PC game, No Man's Sky.
Hey everybody, I'm Mainstream Mike, your captain of the gaming mainstream, and welcome back to another semester of great game reviews. Now unfortunately, I don't have a top 4 list for you guys, because for this episode, we need to talk about a certain game that many people found awesome at the beginning, and then as they played, they just found out they spent $60 on hype alone. But was that all that matters? This is No Man's Sky. So let's talk about exploration, which is this game's main feature, cataloging, collecting plants and animals, and picking up materials like gold and iron. The game's color palette is really good, as the choice of colors make you feel like you're on an alien world and give you a real sense that you are on that world. The game is massive and might honestly be the biggest game I've ever seen or played. I could just leave this game and chill from the music too, because the music also is fantastic. Something you can just leave on in the background as ambient noise. But then from there, it all goes crashing down like an asteroid from Earth. Very soon after you're visiting your first planet, you start to notice that this game is sorely lacking in many aspects. First of all, the learning of the language from another species. It's downright impossible. You have to find words in that language in the galaxy, but by doing side quests or lore, and by finding lore stones. But each one only gives you one word, sometimes twice. Not to mention the constant annoyance of recharging your drill laser and constantly having to fight for inventory space. Space combat is also annoying when trying to lock on and attack another ship. Space combat should not be boring! Oh, and the lack of other character sprites when visiting outposts. Not to mention all the other things that this game is missing, that we were shown in interviews with the developers, but hold on. Good. The biggest rage quit for this game is the ending. After spending countless hours trying to reach the center of the universe, the main story mission of the game, you find that all your work has come together to reach nothing. Just the game's end credits and a transfer over to a new galaxy. Guys, in good faith, I can't tell you to buy the game, especially at $60. Maybe if they added more DLC that you don't have to pay for, and possibly even then a price drop. But with all that said, is it a bad game? And the answer is no. There is a foundation to the game, and the developers clearly wanted to fix it, and I believe it could have been great as it stood on its own. But right now, the final score for No Man's Sky is a 5 out of 10, a hard average. So what did you guys think? Did you agree or disagree? Be sure to let me know at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag mainstream. And until next time, I'm Mainstream Mike saying, see you later, guys.
This semester, we're doing something different with Animate. You're going to be doing it instead of Brendan.
You know, I was really surprised he let me do it. It seemed like his favorite.
He does love anime.
He does.
Well, let's see how you did. Here's Animate.
Hello, and welcome to Animate. I'm your host this episode, Michaela Wilfred. Over the summer, I watched a few fun anime, but my favorite was And You Thought There Was Never a Girl Online. This anime starts in the game world of Legendary Age, where our main female Akko proposes to our main male Rusian. He says yes due to the game giving increased bonuses to married players. Akko then joins the Alley Cat guild that Rusian is a part of. The other two male members of this guild are Master and Svine. Rusian's part in the guild is the tank. His job is to take all of the attacks. Master spends all of his real-world money on premium gear and uses spells. Svine carries a long broadsword and focuses on melee attacks. Akko then fits perfectly in the group as the healer, though she is clumsy and is very obviously new to online gaming. After playing in the game for some time, they decide to meet in the real world, where Rusian finds out that Svine and Master are both girls who go to the same high school as him and Akko. Over the next few episodes, Akko tries to level up her real-world self, and also can't figure out why she can't call Rusian and Svine by their character names and must call them by their real names, Nushimura and Segawa, respectively. The rest of the anime falls into teaching Akko that game and reality are different, and that her and Rusian are not married in real life. This task is hidden in the school as a club run by a teacher who is also a fan of the game. Overall, the characters are what really draw attention to the anime, not the plot, which, to be honest, got rather bland due to it being relatively normal kids playing a normal RPG. Rusian, who pushes so hard to separate the game, after a proposal to a character goes terribly wrong, slowly discovers that he can use the game to make friends and even fall in love. And while the characters push for Akko to separate the gaming world and reality, the more time they spend with her, the more they realize how she thinks. Akko is also a very shy book nerd before getting into the RPG, and is glad to give herself a world where she is able to put herself out there and make new friends. She feels to this point that she can use her real name as her username in the game. A few of my random favorite things in this anime was when they described IP addresses. The only way an anime could, with little characters. As a computer science major, I was amused by the stuffed bear being used to explain how to track a player in the real world. Another thing I liked was the term normie. Any person that is not a geek and is too normal for our protagonists. Akko and Master both are very against the idea of normies, while Svine works very hard to fit in and wants to hide the fact that she plays video games. The last one was simply the romance in the anime, was not all about the females going for Rusian. Master and Svine both have very platonic relationships with Rusian and want him with Akko, and hope in their strange ways. I found this anime rather normal, and that made it seem very slow overall, but this 12-episode series is definitely worth a watch. That's all I've got for you this time. Be sure to tweet any thoughts or recommendations you have at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag Animate. Until next time, I'm Michaela Wolfred, and this has been Animate. Thanks for watching. It's time for our second commercial break. We'll be back in a bit.
Like what you see here on Goofing Off? Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube page, and make sure to check us out on Instagram.
So, see any good movies this summer?
Nope.
Me either. Thankfully, Cameron is up next with Movie Snobs.
Hello everyone, welcome to Movie Snobs. My name is Cameron, and DC, you've done it again. You have a great idea, you threw it in the trash, you picked it up, you wiped it off, and you went, yeah, this looks good to me. That's right, I'm talking about Suicide Squad. So, before we start talking about the movie, let's just start by saying this seems like a lot like Batman vs. Superman. Great actors and actresses, but terrible writing.
Y'all jokers must be crazy.
So, let's run down the list of who's who. First, we have Deadshot, the Hitman, played by Will Smith. Then we have Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie. And those are the only ones that this movie really focuses on. Everyone else just kind of falls to the background. Even though they all do have backstories, they don't really stand out so much. So, the movie starts out by Amanda Waller explaining that Superman is still dead. Thanks for that, because everyone over the age of 12 totally still believes that he is really dead. So, this scene of the movie, they actually did really, really well. They simply explained who each character is and what they can do, not just a way to get exposition in. So, in our explanation of each villain, it goes to a flashback for each character. Now, this is the part of the movie where it gets bad. They make each character seem like they are just misunderstood. No one was in there because they were just simply evil. With Deadshot, he killed people to get money to support his daughter, because, you know, only misunderstood people or good people can really care for their kids. Then, Harley was trying to help the Joker and was dumb enough to give him a gun. He then goes and kills the ward and gets out and tortures her till she's just as crazy as him. Oh, and let us not forget about the great, the magnificent Joker, who frankly took up most of the trailers. Joker, played by Jared Leto, had so many flaws, besides not being in the movie much. Of course, we aren't going to get the old Joker back for obvious reasons, but this one didn't even stand up to the Jack Nicholson Joker. The biggest feature about the Joker is that he likes to laugh. He's funny. This one acted like a mafia boss with just a creepy laugh. He had no humor. He just liked to kill people for no reason. That is not who the Joker is. So, the main problem with this movie is that the enchantress of the team goes and tries to steal her heart back from Amanda, but fails and then gets her brother. Her brother then frees her of the need of her heart, and then they take over the city and turn the people into their own personal army. Now it's up to the Suicide Squad to stop them. After getting bombs implanted into their necks, they meet two new members of their team, Slipknot and Katana. Slipknot can climb any surface, and Katana is a good guy that can swing a sword that traps people's souls. That's it. Neither one gets a backstory or a real personality. So they go to the city, find their morals as people, and save the day. Such a shocking movie. Truly, this is a revolution.
Oh, yeah, you're the fire bloke, eh? Well, looky here. Fire!
Now that we got the actors and story out of the way, let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of this movie. The strengths are few, but they are really, really good strengths. They had a fantastic cast, great effects, and a sneak peek at the Justice League with The Flash and Batman. Now, for the weaknesses. First, why did it take so long for the witch to try anything? She had all this time to do something, and she just waits till there is literally a team built specifically to stop people like her. And then why bring in Slipknot if you're literally just bringing him in to blow his head off? Then why bring in Katana if she has no importance to the story? She literally comes in, the general goes, oh yeah, she's had my back a few years back. That's it. And the absolute worst part, is you can see where they went back and edited these scenes in with the reshoots to make them funny. You can see exactly where they added it to make this forced humor. This movie was a train wreck. They were on the right path, but then they got completely derailed. They tried to make the bad guys the good guys. The way they should have done this was to make the bad guys be bad and only be doing good for selfish reasons. But no, they chose this.
I can't wait to show you my toy.
So, what do you think? Agree or disagree? Let us know on Twitter at ZTV Goofing Off with the hashtag Movie Snobs. And I'll see you guys at the theaters.
So, what did Brendan say was next?
Well, I heard we have a really awesome dude doing his very cool segment.
Did someone not on the team show up?
No, it's me. Coming up next is Games on a Budget.
Good luck, buddy.
Hi everybody, I'm Dominic Firmlily and this is Games on a Budget. Today I'll be looking at Thomas Was Alone, a minimalist game about friendship and jumping, and falling, and anti-gravity.
Thomas was alone. Wow, a weird first thought to have.
This game will make you care more about rectangles than you ever have before. Thomas Was Alone tells the tale of the world's first sentient artificial intelligences and how they learned to work together to overcome their obstacles. Every chapter starts with a fictional quote from a newspaper or spokesperson talking about this event, but the parts of the story that really shine through are the AI's brilliantly narrated internal monologues.
It was at that moment that Claire realized she had superpowers.
Every character has their own strengths and weaknesses. One can act as a trampoline, while another can float on water. Smaller characters can help the larger, less nimble ones by stacking and creating staircases. All of these traits are reflected in the rectangle's personalities as well, and many have insecurities about their size or abilities that they must learn to overcome.
Laura was pleased this one was behind a wall. Maybe he'd never know what she could do. Maybe they could just have a conversation, hang out.
The aim of every level is to get each character into their respective outline. Once they're all in place, they'll be teleported to the next level. The game slowly increases in difficulty, starting as a simple platformer and gradually incorporating more complex mechanics. The levels that make use of more characters can become a little tedious, but the puzzles it introduces never feel impossible to complete. The game is well-paced, and the incentive to continue the story, paired with the relaxing music and visuals, make it a great game from start to finish. Thomas Was Alone was created by Mike Bitho, with narration by Danny Wallace and music by David Housden. You can find it on Steam for only $9.99. Know of any good cheap games? Like what I had for you today? Be sure to tweet at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag GOAB. Until next time, I'm Dominic from Miminal, keeping your wallets full with games on a budget.
They were doing really well. Claire hoped she could get them all across. John was fully aware he could do this alone. Thomas hoped he'd never have to.
Did you enjoy your first time hosting?
Yeah, it was cool being up here introducing things for Goof.
I really liked it too, but I think we're supposed to wrap things up. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube for extra content. I'm Michaela Wilfred.
And I'm Dominic from Emily. Thank you for taking the time to goof off with us.
You look like a Smurf.
My dreams have come true. I've never been this tan in my life. This semester we are doing something different with Animate. Brendan's not there anymore because of that smell.
We didn't do this one. I forgot.
Something to do with. Did they fix it?
Yeah, it's fixed.
You guys are great.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.